How's it going, everyone? Brady here. Welcome to another video here on the Brady GTV channel. As you guys know, I'm a huge Boston Red Sox fan. I think that's pretty obvious with these two paintings in my room. This one needs to be updated a little bit, but regardless, I've grown up as a huge Sox fan, going to Fenway Park every spring and summer. This year it hasn't been so easy with the pandemic. I have not been able to go to Fenway just like everybody else, and that's been tough, but in place of that, I've been working on a creative project to bring Fenway home. Before the quarantine, I actually hadn't played Minecraft since about middle school, but with so much time on my hands, I decided, you know what, let's open it back up, see what happens, and I think I came up with my best build ever. So without further ado, let's head inside, heading up the ramp at the Centerfield bleachers, and there she is, Fenway Park, looking as good as ever, if I do say so myself. I'll give you a little pan around it here, let you see the whole thing from this vantage point. It's not totally to scale. I know a lot of people that do these recreations like to do a 1-to-1 scale where a foot is the same size as a block. That would be absolutely massive. I did not have the time for that. We'll start here in the outfield. I put the bleacher bar in underneath the Centerfield bleachers. I thought that was a nice little touch, but here we are at the Centerfield bleachers. Pretty happy with how the scoreboard came out too right there. We've got the Ted Williams red seat over here. Then we'll fly along the other grandstands and bleachers, the red seats going up towards the blue seats all the way around here. You can see the concourse off to the side, a little bit of the upper deck as well, but we'll get to that in just a moment. Coming around now to the left field side into the corner here with the Gulf sign right there, and then the green monster. Now this is a little tricky, had to get a little creative with those logos up there, but I'm pretty happy with how it came out. We'll head up to the top of the monster, the standing room section here, give you this view. We'll keep walking right along the monster. No time for pictures on this tour though, people. We gotta keep it moving. We'll head for the left field upper deck. This is one of my favorite parts of the ballpark, so I put a lot of thought into this one. We have the hallway to the suites over there, and we'll go up the stairs towards this upper deck pavilion. And over here you can see one of my favorite sections in the park. I think it's a great view up here on the third base, kind of left field side. A great view of the whole area, and especially the skyline too. If I have a lot of time, I'll go into that. I didn't put it in time for this video though. As you can see, this whole upper deck area, we've got some suites at the very top. Here's the press box. On our right side, there's the main press area. On the left is a few radio booths, and then we'll move over towards this left side, looking down the opposite end of the upper deck. As you can see, I also have the suites in there down below. Not too much detail into them, but they are there with their own dedicated hallway like we saw on the other side. Over here's the Samuel Adams Pavilion, including the retired numbers, and then we'll head on up, get an aerial view of the whole stadium looking around. You can kind of see the back of the right field roof boxes as well as the entire pavilion that we just saw from the opposite side. Over here, I was happy with how this came out, kind of the elevator shaft and a few of the staircases. I think I did pretty well on the outside, giving it the general look. You know, there's always more detail that I could have put in pretty much anywhere, but at some point you have to realize, you know, how good is it really gonna get? So if I have a ton of time in the future, I could come back and add this and add that, but for now, I'm pretty happy with how this is. So we're gonna go way up here and give you the entire aerial view, pretty much straight overhead. Kind of an interesting shape. I've always liked the shape of Fenway. Just such a weird, you know, ballpark wedged into kind of a rectangular lot. I've always liked that. Coming down on the left side here, you have the rooftop garden, which is always a nice spot in the stadium. Then kind of, again, the facade of the building. We'll go overhead here, again, head in towards the ballpark. We'll fly right down and try to land it on home plate, give you guys that view, the batter's eye, as you can see right here, looking out across. We've got the big scoreboard out there, deep center field, the monster on the left, all the boxes kind of hanging over it on the right side and on the left. And then we'll also move out towards the pitcher's mound too. We'll give you guys that view, kind of looking back towards the batter's boxes and the press box. I think it's pretty intimidating there. I wonder if it's actually like that from the pitcher's eye. Maybe we can check that out some point in real life if I'm lucky. Now let's head in a little bit deeper here, check out some of the concourse areas, and this is definitely a part of the stadium that if I had a ton of time and a ton of interest, I could really build this up, but for now I'm kind of happy with how it is. You know, I've got the space laid out here and the general structure of it, but of course it's missing some of those finer details, and maybe I could add that at some point. But overall, I'm pretty happy with how this all looks. We'll come around here to this left side. We've got the ramp over here. We'll go underneath and into the main concourse, and as you can see, it's pretty barren down here. I have all the stone laid out, almost 25,000 blocks of stone in the entire build, by the way. I think that's pretty wild. Speaking of numbers, I have about 16,000 of the kind of greenish Fenway green blocks, and then about 10,000 of the bricks. So yeah, a lot of blocks went into this build, that is for sure. So we're getting kind of a look here of the concourse, and you know, not a ton down here. Again, kind of an area where I could put some different vendors and merchandise, but maybe some point I'll be able to do that. We'll go back ahead here to the very top, give you one last look, and what's that over there? Oh, another build potentially in the future. Oh, hello. But then we'll finish off our tour right here on the top. I'll get rid of all these little bubbles that were helping us see down below. And here we are, our final point on the tour. Overall, quite happy with how this came out. I've never really done anything quite like this, and I'm not sure I'll ever have the time to do it again at any point, pretty much. But all things considered, I'm quite happy with how I did. If you're curious about how I made all this, don't worry, I didn't use any world edit at all. So for you gamers out there, I placed every single block by by hand, and to figure out the design, I used a lot of images off of Google, like Googling different parts of the ballpark, and also using maps. I was able to kind of get 3D maps involved and check out kind of the structure and the colors and things like that from that vantage point. So that's also a kind of a reason why some of the bare bones of the structure aren't as good, you know, underneath, because that's just not really documented as much as the outside is. But for now, I'm happy to leave it there, and hopefully you guys enjoyed getting to check this out. It's been pretty cool to share for me, and maybe you guys are inspired too to make something similar. I know I've had some friends go and kind of make their own stadiums in their own ways, so I think that's been pretty cool to see. And so maybe you guys want to do something similar. Maybe you want to see similar videos from me in the future. I've never really done anything like this, but it was a lot of fun, so I hope you guys enjoyed this video, enjoyed this tour, and I'll see you guys next time.